Gemini 3 has completely changed the game on how we build websites. Look at this. This isn't Lovable or Bolt or actually from a developer. We've been able to do this ourselves within a matter of minutes. This is Gemini 3 and the design quality is on another level. But this is the first time we've genuinely seen a vibe coding platform actually produce quality websites that's not just AI slop. You know what I'm talking about, the generic layouts, the purple color scheme, the built with AI look that instantly kills trust. And you wouldn't be able to send that to a client. In this video, I'll show you exactly how we're able to build websites with Gemini 3 that actually look premium. And in this video, I'm also going to show you how we can actually get it live and up and running and hosting it on the web. Make sure to come across to the community, which is the first link in the description, to access all of the resources we've built, plus much more. So what's the 4-step process we need to follow? Well, actually, it's really simple. First of all, we really need to spend some time up front with the planning and the prompting we're going to use, because this massively improves the outputs that we get later on. Next, we're also going to need some inspiration, which ties into our planning. I'm going to show you a really useful trick to help get the best outputs. We then need to go through and just refine and add in different elements to help get the best outputs and constantly improve our websites and apps that we're building with Gemini. And then last but not least, I'll show you how we can host it and how we can use platforms like Claude Code and Anti-gravity to automatically make the updates for you and show you the best version. So to get the best outputs, we're going to need to have references. Now there's two forms of this, and the first one is going to be your prompt structure. What we want to do is give our Gemini 3 model as much information as possible, including the role, i.e. it's an award-winning UI UX designer, what we're building, who it's for, what action the user should be able to take, also ignoring specific typography that's often overused, primary colors, background and depth, animations, different sections we want involved, the framework, and more important at the end, also the design rules for what to do, but also what not to do. So let's come across to Google's AI Studio. Now you're going to be able to run it with Google's AI Studio, or you'll be able to do it with Google's Gemini interface as well. The reason I love using the AI Studio is because we can then automatically push it to GitHub, which is really important for later on, but also it's just really nice to work with this in more of a developer way. So we're going to paste our example prompt in here. Again, all of this is going to be linked in the description. We've got an example here, which is saying that we're an award-winning UI UX designer, known for building award-winning websites, and that's a bit of foreshadowing because I'll show you a bit later on exactly what that means. And we're a specialist in dark mode aesthetics with GSAP animations or GASP animations, which really help get the best animations on a website. And we've got some real details in here. The example that we're going to be running through today is a landing page for a voice agency platform that's specific for trade services. As we can see here, we've got the color palette, we've got depth and background, we've got some of the animations, we've got navigation, all of these different sections, all of the different text we wanted to use. We've added lots and lots of details in here, which follows the exact structure that we were talking about a bit earlier on. So now we're going to make sure that we're using the Pro model, as we can see here, and then we're going to say that we're using React for the system instruction template. We're then going to send this off, and now as you can see on the left, we've got that entire prompt for us to check out. It's got all of the different details that we wanted to specify, and it's got the do's and do nots at the end. What's really important is, as you can see here, we don't want any of those purple or blue blobs, which of course are the key giveaways when you're looking at vibe coded platforms. We're now going through and we're generating all of the files, as we can see here. So if we come across to code, now we can see Gemini working away in the background, starting to build out everything that we need to be able to get our final version later on. So there we go, just over 1.5 minutes later, we've now got our first version ready to go. So let's come across to preview. We'll go full screen, and as we can see here, this instantly looks much better than what we would have from those vibe coding platforms like Lovable or Bolt in the past. As you can see here, because we gave it so much detail up front, it really helped it. We've got the animation showing the different stages of how we go live. We had the animation a bit earlier on as we scroll down. So if we just come to the top and refresh the app, we'll be able to see here again all of those animations coming up again, which looks fantastic. We've got all of the drop downs, the work and the color scheme that we wanted to, anything else that we wanted, and much, much more. But how do we enhance this? Well, if we come back across, what we can also do is add in something called artifacts. Now, because Gemini is multimodal, what it means is it's able to include both text and images. So we've got two different ways that we can do this. First of all, we've got screenshots. Now, there's lots of different platforms out there that aggregate lots of cool designs. So, for example, awards, like we mentioned earlier on, have lots and lots of different unique websites you're able to check out. So if we come across to their sites of the year, we can come down and check out lots of different ones. So, for example, if you like the Numo agency, we can visit their site. We can see their homepage, and then we can scroll down, see all of the different animations they've got, so we can start to get some inspiration for what we need. And that's not the only one. We've got CTA Gallery for great call to action examples. We've got Unsection as well, where we can check out lots of different website designs. We've got Landing Folio as well. Again, hundreds of different examples in here. We've got another one, which is Dribble, and these are fantastic. These guys have got lots and lots of different ones that are really useful. Or one of my favorites is actually Mobbin, because they've got big platforms on here as well that we can get inspiration from, including Perplexity. We've got other ones in here like Claude, Otter AI. We've got Sora. We've got loads and loads of different ones in here that can help give us some inspiration. So, for example, if we come down to, we've got Matter here, we'll be able to do visit Matter HQ. We would be able to come through, screenshot this page here. We can come across to Canva, PowerPoint, Google Slides, anything like that. Make sure that we insert. We can then pull it into platforms like Figma, as you can see here. And then what we're able to do is annotate it as well. So if we copy and paste this, we could say that we want this to be the main page for customers, and then we're able to explain it in plain English, the different sections that we want. If we keep scrolling down, we'll be able to find another one. So for example, if you like Babel, we can check that out. We'll be able to do visit babel.com, exactly the same as before. So we actually love this method section. We could copy this, come back across, again, just pull it into the platform, and then we could say that we want this to be, we could say, great for explaining our services. We'd then be able to put this in the middle. Again, we've annotated it. We'll be able to screenshot this, come back across to our AI studio. We'll just close this down from full screen. We'll upload that screenshot that we just took as a reference image. So we'll be able to do that in there. And we'll say, please make the updates to the UI and design based on these examples. We'll be able to send this off, and now it should start going through and updating the design that we've got to improve the outputs. And there we go. If we just come up here, over just 2.5 minutes later, as we can scroll down, we've got the new updated interface with the new logos at the bottom, or we would change that to be the actual logos. And as we can see here, we've now got that big gold bar going across the middle of the screen, showcasing that new offering that we've got, what it does, and who we're talking to. But this is just the start. What we're also able to do is add reference HTML. Now, if you're not sure what that means, HTML is basically the actual design language that we've got behind this, that's explaining the design of your specific website and how to render all of the different elements. And this is where it gets absolutely amazing. Say, for example, you absolutely love the design of Superhuman. What you're able to do is right-click on their website, do View Page Source. This is then going to open up all of the different commands and code that they've used to generate their specific website. Control A or Command A, copy all of this, and then you can come through to, for example, a Google Doc. You can paste it all in here as reference HTML, so you could have lots of repositories or examples that you've got from tons and tons of different websites that you can then use in the future. So if we then come back across to the one that we're building out, what we can actually do is come down the bottom and say, actually, please change the design to be more in line with this example from Superhuman, as I like their website design, but in the color scheme we have of black and gold. We'll then be able to paste it in there. It's going to save all of it in. Or as you stored it, for example, in a Google Doc, you could download it and upload it into here as an attachment for the reference files. We're then going to come through, send that alt off, and now it's going to start using that reference HTML that we've got from Superhuman to keep it in our color scheme, but actually showcase it, hopefully more aligned to their design. And there we go, in just over 2.5 minutes, we've got it completely redesigned. So now it actually simulates what we had on Superhuman. So as we can see here, if we scroll through, it's got a few different examples reclaiming time, but it did lose its animation. But to get it back, what we'll be able to do is just come down and add this prompt in here, asking for the scrolling animations to come in. So we'll just be able to send this off, let it go through and make those changes. Whilst it's doing this, how do we take our website to the next level again? Well, what we're able to do is actually embed chat agents with different platforms like ElevenLabs. Now, don't worry, this can still be incredibly cheap to run, even if you start on that starter plan. But what it will mean is you'll be able to capture leads from your website 24/7, 365, whether it's through text interactions or actually they want to use their voice. Once you've signed into your account, you'll be able to see, if you come up to the top, their agents platform. I've got a complete in-depth video that covers how to set this up, so we're going to walk through it quite quickly. We're going to create a new agent, which is going to be a business agent. In this use case, we're actually going to be the category of other. We're going to say that we're going to be a trade and then business, and then we can add it in here. We're going to say in this use case, it's actually maybe lead qualification. We're going to say that it's a trade and then business demo. We can add our website in there if we've got one set up. And we're going to say that the main goal is to be able to capture customer information and then pass it through a webhook, which is going to store all of this data in our CRM platform so that we can capture leads 24/7, 365. We can say if we want the agent to be chat only, but in this use case, we're going to give it access to voice and chat. Now it's going to go through and do the hard work for us, setting that agent up in the background. And now we've got it ready to go. In here, you're able to go through and change the different voices that they've got. And you can even use your very own voice clone. And these actually sound amazing. So let's check out Hope.
Hey, are you looking for a fresh and engaging voice for your podcast or social media?
Or for example, if we come up to Russell.
Every journey starts with a single pedal stroke.
So as you can see, they're able to get the different voices set up incredibly quickly, and they've got hundreds of different languages you're able to use. We're able to use the latest and greatest models as well if we want to. As you can see there, it's still incredibly cheap to run in the background. We've got the agent prompt in here that you'll be able to go through and customize to your business. We're just going to get rid of where we've got the webhook URL information at the moment, just because we haven't actually got one set up. What we're going to do to get it working is you can come through and actually set up different conversation workflows if you want. You can add any extra knowledge in here. So again, any FAQ documents you've generated, your website to give it more relevant information. But we're going to come straight across to widget, which is where we're going to be able to copy this code to embed it into our website. We're going to publish. And now it's going to go through and get our agent set up in the background. So as you can see down here, we'll now be able to embed that interface on our website. So we'll come back across and there we go. We've got our updated website in the background. What we're able to do is come in here and say, please, can you now embed my voice agent on the website to capture leads? We'll be able to paste that code in there, which is going to tell it which agent we're using. So if you wanted to go through and switch it out nice and easily, you could do that. And it should hopefully add it to the far right hand side for us to use. And there we go. In just under 2 minutes, we're able to get it set up in the right hand side corner. So now we'll be able to chat with that agent. Let's check it out. We can say hi there just to see if it's connecting and able to send the messages back and forth, which it is. If we now collapse that down, and then when we push it live, we'll also be able to do the voice call feature as well. So the other way that we can capture leads is of course with the lead form. So we'll say, please generate a lead form for the website to capture potential client details. Whilst that's being set up, we'll be able to come across to platforms like Go High Level, which will enable us to store all of that information in our CRM. You could also use automated platforms like NA10 to send the data back and forth. We're going to be using the inbound webhook to receive all of this data. You'll be able to do the trigger. So for example, you can say website details, and now we've got this URL, which is where we're going to be able to receive all of this information. So if we come back across, we should have that form being generated any second now. We'll say, please, can you send this data across to the following webhook? And then we'll paste it in there. So now it says it's created the form. So I think what we'll be able to do is click the button, get trade flow. And as we can see here, it's now set it up. We're just going to send off that second request, telling it where to send that data, which of course is go high level in this use case. And once it's done that, we'll be able to check it's all working. So it says it's all updated. Let's come through and give it a test. We'll do Alex, we could do 07, put some numbers in there. Alex at example.com. We're Alex and Smith plumbers. Our trade is again plumber, and we're going to request access. Now this should send all of that data across to the webhook. So if we come across to our go high level, we should be able to actually, yep, there we go. We've got some example tests from earlier on as well. We'll be able to capture the latest one here. And as we can see, we've got all of that data now coming through. So we could automatically store it into our CRM straight away, nice and easily, and reach out to them as it's a potential opportunity. So now we've got the foundations all in place for our website. How do we actually get it live and host it? Well, there's a couple of different ways. Within Google Studio, you're able to go through and save it to GitHub straight away, or you can go through and deploy the app on Google's cloud platform. Now, if you've generated it in Gemini, that's absolutely fine. You're able to come through to the code. Just make sure to copy all of this, paste it into a Google Doc or text document, something like that. Save it so that it's ready to go. What we're going to do is come across. We're then going to just download the app so that we've got everything ready to go. We're going to create a new folder, which is going to be Voice AI website. We're then going to save it in there. This is going to download all of the different files that we generated, the 4 different ones here. So to host it, we're going to first need to come across to a platform called GitHub, and we're going to need to create a repository. If you don't see it on the left, come down to repositories, and then you'll be able to go through and generate one. We're going to do new repository. We're going to give it a name. And in this use case, we called it TradeFlow AI. So we'll just make sure that's all connected up. You can add a description here if you want to. You can make it public so anyone can see the repository, or you can make it private to commit it. You can add all of the different README files in here and everything like that. We're going to do create repository so that it's ready to go. We then need to go through and give it all of the files. So to do that, we're able to come through and upload an existing file. So if we've got it ready to go, we can do that. We're going to come through and choose that folder. It looks like it's zipped, so we just need to actually go through and unzip it first. So there we go. Now it's all unzipped. We're able to copy all of the different files that we've got in here. We're going to do open, and now it should store all of the different ones ready in our repository. We're going to say commit changes, and now it should bring us back to that home page that we had before, which, as you can see here, has got it all set up nice and easily. If we come down to index.html, this has got all of the design elements for our website, which is what we need. If we now come back to the code just so we can see everything in here, you'll be able to completely change this to what you want. To get it live, we next need to come through to a platform called Vercel. I'll include all of these links in the description so you can find it nice and easily. Now to get it set up, you can always come through and you can copy the repository URL and then paste it up here at the top. Or if you've got your GitHub connected, which is the better way of doing it, you can just import it straight away. As you can see here, it's going to ask you a few questions. You don't need to worry about this too much. Just press deploy. Of course, whenever you're doing any of this vibe coding, I always recommend just to go through and double check it so that you're absolutely happy with it before, of course, it goes live for any customers or clients. As you can see here, it's now going through and getting everything set up. So there we go. It's just confirmed it's ready to go. So we can add a domain if we wanted to. It's got just the Vercel app in there, but you could come through, buy a domain. So for example, TradeFlow AI, I think it was, that we did the business. As we could see here, we can get the domain AI TradeFlow. We've got $11 a year there. If we come back across though to our app, we'll be able to come down and just say, okay, continue to dashboard. And now if we click on this link here, what we'll be able to do is open up our app. As you can see here, so it's deployed and ready to go in the real world. Of course, what we also want to be able to do is make changes to this nice and easily and check for any security vulnerabilities. We're able to use platforms like Cursor, or we've got Claude Code, or we've got Google's very own Anti-gravity. When you install these, they'll be able to analyze the GitHub repository, the files, and even push changes for you on autopilot. So download one of them and just start to play around with it. Now I'm going to be using Cursor to show you how we can set this up. You can come through and add the folder directly in here if you want to. So again, we would just come across to where we've got the original files for our voice AI and you'll be able to analyze it in here. But seeing as we've deployed it, actually we want to make the updates directly into GitHub. So we're going to come up to the top and do a new terminal. Don't worry if this looks overly complex. What we're doing is going to be starting up Claude Code for us to get it to make the automatic changes. I've got another video on the channel that walks you through exactly how to do this yourself, get everything installed and ready to go so that you can get Claude to make the changes for you. First, you're going to need to do a dash and then type in plugins. What you want to make sure is that you've got GitHub, as you can see here, or you want to come up to the top and search for Git and then Hub. This is going to enable us to connect into our GitHub and be able to push all of the information back and forth between Claude Code and our GitHub repository. We're going to say, yes, we want to install it. And now it's going to go through and it's done it straight away. You need to make sure that you've also got GitHub installed, which we'll just do. So you'll need to come across to your terminal, run this command here, which is going to make sure that everything's installed. I've already got it installed and up to date, which is why we can see it there. Once you've got it installed, you'll also need to make sure that you've got the auth login, which is where we're going to do GitHub command. You can say what ones you want. We're going to say, yes, we want to connect, login with browser. We're going to copy, enter, and this is going to load it up for us. This is going to help us connect. So we're just going to add in our activation code to make sure we're all authenticated. Next, you're then going to need to come through and add this command in, which is going to make sure that you're all authenticated with your personal access token or PAT to access all of your repositories and the MCP server that GitHub have. So just make sure to replace where it's got GitHub and then underscore and then pat with your actual access token. So there we go. We should now be all installed, updated and ready to go. So we'll come back across to Cursor. We're going to need to make sure that we get everything installed. We're going to press enter. This is going to direct us across to our GitHub account. We're just simply going to press install, allow it to access everything. It's going to ask us to just authenticate, make sure we're happy with that, which we are. And now Claude Code's going to be able to access all of our different repositories that we've created, so different websites and apps that we've got in GitHub. So now if we come through and do GitHub, we're going to make sure that we're able to set up GitHub for actions. We're going to need our repository. So we'll come back across to our GitHub account where we've stored all of these files, copy the URL, come back and paste into there. Now it should go through, check it's all configured. We'll come back through and we're going to do enter. And now if we come down to Claude Code Review, we'll come down and just enter an API key. So we'll come across to the platform of Claude. We'll do get an API key. We're just going to come down and create one in this use case. We're just going to call it Claude and then code. We'll copy this, come back across and enter and make sure that's all connected. We're connecting everything up so it should go green. And there we go. It's just going to create a pull request just to make sure that it can go through and analyze all of the different ones. We'll open up a new version of Claude Code for us to use. We'll be able to do and then GitHub. And now, as you can see here, we've got access to all of the different ones that we've generated in the past. So what I want us to do straight away is say, please, can you review the code base to check for any issues? We'll copy our URL, come back across, and we're just going to come to the end and again paste in there and get it to go through. And now it should be able to check if there's any issues with the code base, and it will be able to help us go through and make changes in the future. We're going to say yes and don't ask again so that it's able to go through and just check everything. I personally recommend, again, whilst you're learning off starting, make sure to go through, just check everything it's doing, so you learn the process, but also what it's actually doing so that if there's any issues, you know how to debug and solve it yourself. As we can see here, it's now going through, checking one of the different files and documents we set up, like the actual HTML document. It looks like it's going through, assessing everything, and just checking if there's any issues. So there we go. Now it's come back with some options. It looks like there's a couple of issues. We've got the webhook URL exposed on the client side, critical issues. So as you can see here, this is why it's incredibly useful. We'll be able to say, yes, please action all of those suggestions. And now it's going to start going through in the background and making all of the changes for us directly in GitHub and on that account. So there we go. It's now gone through and made all of those changes it suggested. So if we go across to GitHub, we'll see here that we've got now lots more folders. We've got lots more information here, which is much more useful for us to know how it works. And of course, then how you will be able to change it in the future as well. But to show you how powerful that connection is, now we don't even need to do anything ourselves. So for example, here, we'll be able to look through all of the different designs. Say we like this super intelligence one, we'll be able to open it up, just check it out. Again, 3 dots, open the page source code, copy all of this, come back across to Claude Code. We could say, I don't like the design anymore. Please update so it looks like this website, but with our theme and has our ElevenLabs agent on. Then we can simply paste all of the code in there, which is over 1,000 lines of code. And now it's going to go through automatically for us, analyze everything, and then we'll be able to push it straight to GitHub. Great, and there we go. After 2 minutes, it's all ready. So we can say, is this on GitHub already? Now we're going to check if it is. If not, we'll be able to go through and just check it out. Yes, as we can see there, all of them have been pushed across, ready to go. So if we come back across, we'll be able to see that we've got some changes. So for example, 1 minute ago here, we can come through and we can say, yep, we want to deploy this to Vercel. So we'll get that to go off. And now we should have everything ready to go straight away. We'll come across to Vercel. We're just going to do redeploy to make sure that it's pulling through all of the latest version. We're going to say redeploy, and now it should build through that latest version. So if we just close this down, it's just going through, making sure that we've got everything set up. Once all of this is green, we should be good to go. And there we go. As we can see, we've got that website back for us. We've got some of the different features. Of course, we'll still need to make some changes to this. There's many ways we can improve this, but it shows you how far we're able to get with Gemini 3, getting some great ideas, getting some great starters, and building an entire website from scratch straight away, which of course you could then sell on to businesses or even use for your own website. Make sure to come across to the community for all of the different resources that we've run through in this video, as well as much more. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you'd love us to build with NA10, anti-gravity, and anything else in the AI space. Stay tuned for more around AI, automation, and have a great day.